No, I just love the idea of having like not collaboration, but like jumping ideas off of each other and really seeing like what things are working as
Yeah,
speakers,
no, for sure.
especially right now. Like, are you having any, like, you want to be a speaker? Are you doing any, like reaching out for events right now or anything?
No. And I honestly, I don't even know how to go about doing that. I've been focusing on, like, I have a discipleship course that I kind of put together and was planning on launching. And I felt this urgency to kind of get it finished recording, at the end of, I think it was right at the beginning of March that I got it finished recorded and uploaded and kind of on my site, but I didn't know when I was going to launch it. And then all of this happened and there was like, okay, leaders got to give, like, we just got to give, right? And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, well, I don't know how ready this is, but I'm just going to put it out there. So I've been trying to like kind of put that material out there. And what else am I doing? Oh, this weekly popping on and doing conversation with the group that I already have kind of established, with the armor of God, and just like really loose, fun kind of conversation where I share about my week and just kind of lighthearted and share what God's doing in my life. And then I'll go into like a little casual lesson on how this piece of the armor has encouraged and how I've been able to use it.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just the kind of things that I've really tried to kind of implementing. When I put out that course, or like when I kind of released, okay, so I have this material and I feel like I should put it out there. That's been the whole like launching that was kind of super stressful. I had a girlfriend was like, well, she is somebody I met through KBB. She reached out and she's marketing. And so she's going through this other course that I'm doing on the curriculum that I wrote, that's Crown and Sword, which is totally free. I mean, I sold some books through it, but I'm thinking I'll probably end up making that kind of an intensive that I'll try and market to churches to maybe take leaders through and equip leaders. So that's something I'm praying about, because I feel like I can probably make some money by marketing the curriculum to churches.
Yeah.
I feel like marketing the material to individuals, I'm not going to be able to sell, or it's hard to feel like I'm selling mentorship.
Yeah.
In the word, you know, like,
I get it.
You know, it's like, I'll coach you in your through the Bible for like what, like $200 a month? No, like you can't do that in this niche, I feel. So I'm feeling like if I can kind of package it and try and sell it to churches, and so that it can minister to their whole community as a whole, then maybe I could bring in a little bit of revenue that way.
Yeah.
So I've been praying about that. And then I'm also really feeling prompted to do this course on health and equipping people to really, because I've struggled with thyroid issues, and just the last 2 years really getting equipped on how to manage the symptoms. So it's not necessarily just my thyroid, but body in general. And I feel like incorporating the soul and the spirit in all of that is like critical for our well-being, like how our physical being is super crucial to our spiritual well-being as well. And so making a course on that, and that's been on my heart for a long time. So I feel like I'm just going to jump in and do that.
Yeah. And I think that all of us have kind of this idea that because we're in the like spiritual realm, that we really can't charge what it's worth. Like
Right.
really, like the material that we have is really important, and people actually need to hear it. I actually had a call with one of my coaches yesterday. It was like a follow-up call after a course that I did maybe 6 months ago. And he just pointed something out to me. He said, people give value to things that you give value to. He's like, people assign value to your product if you assign value to your product. Like people are willing to say, I'm willing to give, to purchase this product because I think it will add value to my life. It has the ability to transform my life, and that's worth paying for. And I think like one of the things that's been one of my biggest hurdles as a speaker, first of all, and also being a published author and having a course and like having all this stuff.
Right.
I don't feel like I can charge what I know it's worth, because I don't want anybody to think that I'm taking advantage of people or like making $1 million off of like preaching God's word. You know what I mean? Obviously that's not happening, but just having the ability to say, like, God has given me the ability to help people transform their lives, like to help somebody renew their mind and in turn transform their life. And that's worth something, like that. It is worth something, but I have a difficult time like assigning a price point to it. And
Well,
that's
I look at
my hardest
like
thing.
I look at some of my mentors, virtual mentors would be Havilah Cunnington or Lisa Bevere or, even like a Beth Moore and those types of people that are giving away phenomenal material for a price people can really afford.
Yeah.
And then I look at, well, I don't feel right. Like, and my production, because I do not have the funds to really make it quite as beautiful and seamless and,
Yeah, production value isn't going to be as high, but the thing that you have that they don't is like you have that one-on-one connection with a person. And I think people really love that authenticity, like that they have this ability to really actually connect with you. Because if you do a Beth Moore study online with 10,000 other women who are paying $20, like
that's good, Brittany. Yeah.
She's not that personal connection. You're never going to actually get to talk to her. You're never going to actually get to like coach with her. And so what I'm looking at is from the different perspective of like all of these women also have like these one-on-one coaching programs or these groups that are a couple $100, where they say, okay, if you want to have this one-on-one coaching time with me, like join this mastermind group or join this something, because you don't get that at the low level. Like you get that at the higher level. And because like, I know like your heart, I can see your heart is to like have that genuine, authentic connection with people. And that's my heart as well. Like, I don't want to like have a video out there that people can pay $20 to watch an 8-week series. I mean, I do want to have that in place, but that's not my heart. Like you learn more and you get to have that real transformation when you have that one-on-one connection. And so that's how I've been trying to look at it in a different way.
That's really good, Brittany.
Because I look at like Annie F. Downs, like she has her 100 Days to Brave, and she just did like this 100-day thing with everybody that was free. But then on the back end, she's like, hey, if you loved this, like if you want to work with me more closely, like here's my like girl program, that you can join. And it starts off at like $600 or something, So it's like that's what I'm trying to build, is like that real one-on-one connection. Yeah, I want to have those interactions with people through my book and through an online Bible study, but I really want that connection point,
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cool.
So have you ever heard of the Speaker Lab? Have you ever heard of that?
Maybe.
So there's the Speaker Lab is Grant Baldwin's company, and he is teaching next Tuesday. He's doing a live coaching thing on how to book gigs in the midst of coronavirus, like how to book them virtually, how to book them, like if you want to have I think there's more opportunities than there ever has been, but they're not paid at this point. And so he's like, I don't know, he's gathered all this information from all the speaking experts and the bureaus and everybody to say, like, is this going to change the way that speakers like go about getting gigs, or is this something that is going to actually improve the number of gigs that are available for speakers? And so he's doing that next week if you're interested in signing up for it. I just signed up for it this morning.
Well, will you tell us all about it?
Yeah, I'll send you guys a link to it.
Okay.
Because I think like that would be so beneficial to have like people who are actually on the front lines of the speaking world saying, okay, this is how it's changing. This is what we need to be looking for. These are the things that are up and coming, you know? So.
For sure. And if we don't make it, you'll bring us the Cliff's Notes.
Yeah, I think they're going to post a link afterwards with the teaching information, I would think. I'm really bad at taking notes because I want to focus on what a person's saying.
Yeah.
And when I take notes, I like miss things. And so I'd rather just watch all the way through and then like catch the replay afterwards, you know?
Yeah. I guess when something really stands out, I'll grab a pen.
Yeah.
And write it down so I don't forget it. But
yeah. But it's nice to know, like, if they're doing it online, they're also recording it.
Yeah. So,
like, I'm going to have access to it afterwards, so I don't have to worry about taking the notes.
Yeah. Cool. That'll be good.
Yeah.
My, a previous church reached out to me because they were doing a Easter, like the church we went to before we moved. They did like an Easter live stream. Mm-hmm. And he reached out to me because I do like spoken word pieces, and asked if I wanted to share something, which it was funny because we watched a service the Sunday before and he announced it. My husband was like, hey, that's right up your alley. And I'm like, he didn't ask me. like, I don't know. I'm feeling, you know, when you put a bunch of stuff out there and you don't get a lot of response and you just kind of feel, I was just in that kind of insecure space. Like, yeah, like I've just been putting out and nobody wants it. But then the next day he reached out to me and was like, hey, okay. So I worked pretty hard at putting together a video for that for Easter. So that was neat. But of course it's like, you don't charge for that kind of stuff.
No.
So it'll be interesting to know how, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what this teaching brings about on how to go about booking and charging for your speaking.
Yeah. That's the thing that I'm having the hardest time with, because I grew up in Christian ministry, right? And I've been speaking for the last since I was 20 years old, I've been speaking on stages at women's retreats, because it's something that I always love to do and I always was pretty good at it, you know? And so having that ability to like charge for something that I've always done for free, yeah, it doesn't feel right to me. But at the same time, like if I want to be a speaker and if I want to impact this world, like I need to get on those stages. I need to like get my name out there, get my message out there, because I don't want to create something that's just like I believe that God's called me to share this message with people. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't think that it's just for this time. I think it's literally like the thing that our world needs right now. Yeah. And so like putting myself out there, even though I have those insecurities, I don't know if I told you this, but before we met last time, I was like in the process of, I had been on a book tour, like going all over the country, meeting with churches and doing all kinds of stuff. But when this happened, it like totally stopped everything that I was doing. And I was in this place where it was like, okay, God, like, I know you called me to do this and this has been the plan. You know, why are you changing the plan? Yeah. But then I also had somebody reach out to me as the coronavirus thing started and said, hey, we were going to do your book as a women's Bible study at our church, but now we can't do it because we're not allowed to meet. Would you consider teaching an online course through your book? And I was like, I could do that. You could do that. So it was like, it got the ball rolling on having a different perspective. And I think it's so, the reason these like meetings and masterminds are so useful is because we can get different perspectives from other people outside of ourselves.
For sure.
And so that's one of the reasons why I like thought about or mentioned creating a speaker group in the first place, because I love like drawing ideas from each other and like how can I really get my message out there in different ways. And one of the things that I really want to do is start going live for like 30 minutes once a week in my group, but then I have to have something prepared because who knows if people are actually going to get on or not.
Right. Oh girl, like I'm telling you, my alarm keeps going off. Sorry.
No worries.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
There you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, having a little something prepared is, but it's cool because if you can sign off whenever you want.
Yeah, it's true, but they say that the algorithm works, like more people see your video the longer you go.
Really?
So, yeah, so like if you're going live on Facebook, or I think YouTube and Facebook are connected somehow now, that more people will see your video once you get past the 10-minute mark than if you stay under the 10-minute mark. Or more people will see your video if you get past 15 minutes than at 10 minutes. Because it's like,
Interesting.
When you're going live, it like puts your video straight to the top of everybody's feed. And so it's like, but can I just talk? Well, obviously I can. I don't have a problem talking for 30 minutes, like that's what I would love to do, but I want to add like real value to people that are watching, not just rambling on, because I don't like the live videos where people just ramble on for 20 minutes.
Right. I was really excited when I thought about the armor of God.
Yeah.
And how I could just take one piece and go through, and that's 7 weeks of material right there.
Yeah.
So that one kind of just fell in my lap, but I'm like, you could totally just take a piece of scripture.
Yeah.
And
break it down.
Yeah. I remember after I wrote my book, I'm like, there is nothing else. I have put everything I know into this. I cannot do. But then once I started doing soul training, and I was going like every week, I was training through the scripture that I had put in the curriculum. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's like an endless resource of information in the scriptures. Like you cannot tire of it.
Exactly. And when I got done writing my book, I was like, okay, it's a one and done thing. Like I'm never writing anything else ever again, because it was just so all consuming. Like I remember getting to the point where I had my final chapter into my editor and I was like, I'm done. But then I started realizing like, okay, that's actually just the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So I would love to know, I should probably sign off and prep for my next thing, but I would love to know about how you did a book tour or got that scheduled.
It was a crazy thing, but I'll share with you. And what else?
And I would like to know, I think probably how to like reaching out to churches. I feel like if I'm going to market to churches, what does it look like to reach out to a church, and how do I communicate with a women's ministry leader? And what does pricing look like? And how should I package? Like all of this stuff. I feel like I've got to do a little bit of research on what that looks like.
For me, it was more of a speaking opportunity, like speaking opportunities. So I would set up speaking opportunities at different churches just for free. Like, hey, I'm going to be in your area and I would love to do an event at your church. Normally I was like had a referral to the church though, because I started with what I had, and I'd say like, that's where you have to start. Like, because I grew up in Christian ministry and in like the Christian nonprofit sector, I had connections with quite a few churches around the country. So I just started where I knew people to begin with. And so I had a couple of speaking engagements. I started off in Phoenix. I lived there for 5 years and was connected with a church there and have multiple ministry connections in Phoenix. So I started off in Phoenix and did like a seminar, a one-night seminar, and sent out invitations to different women's ministry leaders. But the one thing I really wanted to do was like connect face to face, because that's like my really big thing. I want that connection. So I sent out things to women's ministry leaders at churches that I wanted to get connected with that I didn't really have a connection to. And then I stopped by their office. Honestly, like, so I had my event in each like city that I was doing a one night seminar, and I would have, I mean, they weren't like big events or anything. I would have like maybe 10 to 20 people show up at each event, but that was fine. You know, like that was my purpose. My purpose was to like build my network of people. And then I would stay in that town for like a week or 2 weeks, and I would like go to the different churches and meet with the women's ministry directors of the churches and give them a copy of my book and just let them know I'm a speaker and I do events and retreats. And if you're interested, this is what it is.
Did you have like a public relations pack or anything?
I had, well, my book had, I had put like a packet together with my book of like, here's my business card, here's my website, here's a little bit about like the speaking topics that I do. And I think that it would have been just as good if it was just my book as well. Like, I don't think I needed to have all those things with it, but I wanted it to be like, okay, this person's actually a professional.
Right.
But
and you didn't include any prices or anything?
No, because we just talked about like, okay, I see that you do. I only reached out to churches that do women's events bigger than like a weekly Bible study, you know, like that do a women's conference every year, or that do a women's retreat once or twice a year. Like those are the churches I reached out to. And most of the women's ministry directors are actually in the church offices throughout the week if it's like a church over 500 people, right? So I just would stop by the office. And I wouldn't necessarily even make an appointment with them, because I like the ability to like just really connect and not have somebody. I know it was hard because I'm pretty good at when I first meet people to just really like, this is who I am, this is what it's about, you know, like, and have that really good connection. So I didn't want to not have the opportunity to meet with people by trying to schedule something. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think so.
But I found like catching them when they were at the office at some point throughout the week was the best strategy for me to actually like get face to face with them.
Okay.
So I just had different churches to speak in different regions of the country. So Phoenix, and then Texas, and then I was going to be going to Indiana and Pennsylvania and New York, but half of it didn't happen. So, but it's good though. I mean, I don't know if I would do the same thing again, because it was like a lot of work and a lot of time.
And were they paying for you to go, like your flights and stuff to go out there?
I actually was going by car.
Okay, so were they paying for gas, or were they doing any of that? No, because so it was a lot of money you were putting in there too.
Yeah, I mean, I made back most of what I was spending, because like anywhere I would go, I would sell my books, and I would, you know, like, so I was making enough money to cover like my expenses, because I was selling books along the way, and I was offering to do different things, and, you know, so it didn't end up costing me a ton of money. But I am really good at traveling on little to no budget at all, so it wasn't a huge thing. But I'm also a single woman, so it's not like I have anybody else to worry about. Like, that's super
impractical for me. Like, never. I don't have the connections or the resources to both like pay for all of the travel and then also childcare and yada yada yada.
But probably
God does his thing.
Where you are, there's probably, I don't know, how many churches are within 3 hours of where you are?
Yeah, there's a lot.
Like, you're in a
Yeah.
really good area to actually start reaching out to churches and get into churches. Where I am, or where I'm from in Utah, like Utah is pretty sparse Christian
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
So like it
Just
didn't
go
make
start
sense.
preaching in the Mormon churches.
Yeah, it's more difficult because obviously I'm not Mormon, so that makes a big difference. But yeah, I mean,
It's crazy. I've got some Mormon followers.
Oh, I have lots of Mormon followers. Yeah,
It's just interesting.
yeah, it is interesting.
Like,
And
okay.
so, I mean, it's fun, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'll let you go prepare for your live event, and we
Thank
can
you.
next time we meet, we can like actually talk through more. I mean, I guess this was very beneficial. I think.
Are you encouraged? I'm super encouraged.
I'm encouraged. Yes, it was wonderful.
I think that though, if we do have more people, that like maybe having some specific topic points would be kind of cool to kind of make sure everybody, I don't know, gets a question in, or I don't know, maybe beforehand we can maybe put out some questions, or so everybody gets some kind of inquiry and encouragement met. I don't know.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it's easier when it's just 2 or 3 of us, but
yeah.
All right, well, I will let you go, and I'll see you Friday. I think we decided Friday at 4 o'clock, right? My time. 4
Okay.
3 o'clock your time.
Not this week, but next.
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
We'll figure it out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.